Michael Koncz. Michael, how are you? Good to see you.
Michael, how you doing?
So, Michael, here we are 2.5 weeks out from the fight, and just to give us a little insight into what's going on in Manny world right now.
Well, I wish the fight was tomorrow and not 2.5 weeks away. No, I mean, the bottom line is training camp has been great. Everything has gone as planned. We've locked it down, so Manny's really been focused. He's mentally, physically, and spiritually ready for this fight. And you know, the difference in this fight to any other fight that we've had, this is the first time in 10 years that I've been with Manny that I've ever seen him watch videotape on a fighter.
Why is that? Why is the obvious question, but what did he get from that? Or what did he say, I should have done this sooner, or what was going on?
No, he's never watched tape before because he always figures it out and adjusts during the ring and then listens to Freddie. But I think he's just got extra motivation in this fight, you know, because there's been a lot of, Manny will never admit it, but there's been a lot of accusations, unfounded, thrown towards him. And I think there's a genuine, I don't want to say dislike, but disrespect for Floyd because of what he's done in the past. And, you know, Manny said many times that that person is not a real good role model to other young athletes and kids.
I want to get Kieran a chance to come in, but just to finish that thought, Michael, looking back, though, and notice the acrimonious negotiations and the delays and everything, but now that it has come to fruition, and what was a bit of a monkey wrench in the initial negotiations, the Olympic-style random drug testing, any regrets whatsoever that you just didn't make the deal then and agreed to having the blood taken randomly at any time?
No, we don't have any regrets because I think, number one, both fighters are still able to put on a tremendous show. And number two, from a business point of view, economic point of view, 5 years ago, we didn't have the social media mechanisms that we have now. So I think this fight has exploded this time around just because of social media. People that aren't even sports fans are getting excited about it, and that's important.
Manny's getting ready to do his workout right now, but as we talk about the negotiations, you were there at that now infamous Miami meeting between Manny and Floyd Mayweather. It appears that that was a very important element. Do you feel that the fight would have still been made had they not had that meeting? How integral was that meeting?
No, when we met on the court, that was a very big plus. And then subsequently that night for a couple hours in our hotel room, I sincerely believe there were a lot of good people negotiating, the CEOs and stuff, and Aram and those. But without that meeting, I truly believe, up until that meeting, I was very convinced that the fight was not going to happen.
Why wasn't it going to happen this time?
Well, there was just too much, I think, egos going on in the negotiations. This guy wanted this, that side wanted this, HBO wanted this, Showtime wanted that. And then once the fighters met eye to eye and saw that they were both serious about doing this fight, like I told both Manny and Floyd at that moment, if that's what you want, who's going to stop it? Nobody can stop it. If you two agree that you want to fight each other, it's going to happen. And there was a very positive turn in the negotiations at that point. Things started to move a lot quicker.
You talked about how, you know, Manny has looked to taper Floyd in the way that he hasn't done before. In what other ways has the training camp been different from some of the ones over the last 10 years that you've experienced?
He's just been putting in a lot more, not dedications because he's always dedicated, but for example, if his runs used to be 6-7 miles, he's extended that. The rounds in the gym, I mean, if he's doing 14 rounds before, he's doing 16, 17. So he's really pushing himself. And the other reason is he knows Floyd is a very good fighter. And Floyd is able to adapt. Floyd will be in his best shape. And one of the comments to me before that Manny made, Mike, don't worry about how we fought Madonna or those other guys, because it's going to be a different Floyd in the ring. So Manny really believes that. And I think that also is pushing him to do the best he can. And whoever wins on May 2nd deserves to be the best fighter in the world.
Will he continue to fight, win or lose, after May 2nd?
You know, we've had brief discussions about that. I believe he will. How long we will fight, I don't know. I would like to see him fight possibly once, twice more and call it quits and spend more time with his family and other business ventures. But that's totally up to him. And we really didn't discuss it in depth. We'll see what happens after May.
What's the toughest job of being Manny Pacquiao's advisor?
That there's only one of me, not enough to go around. No, I mean, I've been with Manny 10 years, so I've been there in the good times, the bad times, and I have no regrets. I mean, he's the best person that I know in this world. He's kind, generous, and sometimes...
Is he too nice?
Sometimes that was my next response. Sometimes it's frustrating because he is too nice. And, you know, that's just him. He loves to help people.
Talking about how long he'll continue to fight, I felt the atmosphere in the arena after the last Marquez fight was one of the most emotional atmospheres that I've experienced at a big fight among many people. Did you feel in the aftermath of that that was it? Were you surprised that he wanted to keep going? I think Jinky wanted him to stop as well.
Well, that night was the night that I don't really want to remember because I got in trouble that night too with some media. But you know, from my personal perspective, that was the worst night of my life. I didn't even have those feelings when my father, who I was very close with, passed away. I truly thought Manny was dead in the ring, you know, and his wife was very concerned. But you know, did we want him to quit at that point in time? That was a decision to be made by Manny. But I didn't really think he was going to retire because, look, up until that punch was thrown, Manny was having a tremendous fight. He was ahead. Maybe another 30 seconds, he would have either knocked Marquez out or the ref would have stopped it. We got careless. Marquez threw a great punch to hit him square and knocked him out. But that was the most terrifying moment in my life.
Right.
And, you know, I went to the hospital, obviously, with him. And Jinky was there, so it was just a small group, and she was very worried and concerned. But when the doctors told us that he was okay after the CAT scan and stuff, we were all relieved.
What was it like in the dressing room against Brandon Rios? Because that was the first fight back after the near-year layoff after the loss to Marquez. Was any remnants of it, you know what I'm saying? What was the mood like? What was the discussion like then?
No, I mean, again, the first Bradley fight, we don't consider that a loss. Right. People know who won that. The Marquez fight, yeah, our hand didn't get raised, but do I believe we lost that fight? Absolutely
but
not.
More so than about the fact that he was knocked out. Like we talked about earlier, that first punch landing. So was that a topic in the dressing room?
Well, it wasn't a topic in the dressing room, but we knew, Manny knew that he had to prove to the world that punch, because, you know, that's what makes true champions. When you get knocked out, especially a devastating punch like that, what do you do after that? Some boxers can't ever recover. Sure. Some can, and that's the great guys that can recover. And that's why it was important to Manny to prove to the world that, yeah, I got knocked out, yeah, I was out cold, but I'm back. I didn't ruin my career.
We asked Freddie this, and as awful as that night was and as awful as that experience was, in the long term, has it likely to work to his advantage against Floyd because it's made him a smarter fighter? You know, he's not a more cautious fighter, but he's that bit smarter maybe.
Absolutely, and sometimes that's a double-edged sword too, but yes, he knows himself that he was careless, that he shouldn't even have been in where he was when that punch was thrown. There was only a few seconds left. So it's made him a smarter fighter. He's going to attack, he's going to be aggressive, but he's not going to be careless, and he's learned that.
What's the double-edged sword?
I'd like him to attack, and sometimes being careless is exciting for the fans. But, you know, truly, I believe that on May 2nd, Floyd's going to be at his best, Manny's going to be at his best. A lot of the media say they're both washed up or at least a lot slower than they were 5 years ago. But I don't believe that, and I believe it's going to be a tremendous event for the fans to witness on TV or live.